Hi students, today we are going to study the topic events in sexual reproduction from the chapter Reproduction in Organism, class 12th biology. So we'll discuss events in sexual reproduction. Events in sexual reproduction. And this events in sexual reproduction is grouped into three distinct stages, and they are pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Okay, so events in sexual reproduction is divided or grouped into three distinct stages. They are pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. And this pre-fertilization includes two steps, that is formation of gametes. Formation of gametes means gametogenesis. Formation of male and female gametes is known as gametogenesis. That is gametogenesis. And the transfer of these gametes, whatever is produced, that is known as gamete transfer. That is known as gamete transfer. Okay, and this pre-fertilization is already discussed. Okay, so today we will focus on fertilization and post-fertilization events. So this fertilization, we will discuss this now, and it is also known as syngamy. It is also known as syngamy. Fertilization is also known as syngamy. So fertilization definition, you know, you are studying from your smaller classes. Yes, what is the definition? Yes, it is the fusion of male and female gametes to form what? Yes, the diploid cell, that is the zygote. That is the zygote. And there are two types of fertilization. What are they? There are two types of fertilization, and what are they? Yes, it is the external fertilization and internal fertilization. From the word itself, it is clear. What do you mean by external? External means outside. That is, if the fertilization or fusion is taking place outside the body of the organism, is known as external fertilization. So in the internal fertilization, as it is there, it is inside the body. The fertilization is taking place inside the body of organism. And here in the case of external fertilization, the number of gametes, that is the male and female gametes released, is more in number. Why? To enhance the chances of syngamy or fertilization, because as they are in the external medium, there is a chance that the predators will come and destroy them or eat them. Okay, and here in the case of internal fertilization, what happens as the gametes or the fusion takes place inside the body of the female parent, so what happens? They are safe. They are safe. And here in the case of offsprings, external fertilization, the offsprings are vulnerable to predators. But here in the case of internal fertilization, they get all the care and protection from the mother. Okay, and some examples are external fertilization, bony fishes, then frogs, then algae. And here internal fertilization, you all know the mammals, where we human beings also included. So this is all about fertilization or syngamy. And one more thing you have to keep in your mind, the very important phenomena, that is parthenogenesis. That is parthenogenesis. So what is parthenogenesis? See, in some of the organisms, the female gametes, they develop directly into an individual without fertilization. And that phenomena is called as parthenogenesis. That is the phenomena of development of female gametes directly into an individual without fertilization. That is known as parthenogenesis. And some of the examples are honeybees, lizards. Okay, these are some of the examples of parthenogenesis. So this is all about what? Fertilization or syngamy. Now we will discuss about post-fertilization. And this event includes all the development which takes place after the formation of zygote. That means after male and female gametes are fused, zygote are formed, and after that formation of zygote, what happens will be included in the post-fertilization. And they are it includes, what is that? Zygote development. It includes zygote development, and also the development of that zygote into the embryo, that is embryogenesis. Embryogenesis. And the zygote development, whether the fertilization is taking place external medium or internal medium, the zygote development also will be taking place where? In the external fertilization, it will be taking place in the external medium, that is outside. And in the internal fertilization, zygote development will take place inside. Okay, and this zygote actually, it ensures the continuity of generation. It ensures the continuity of generation. And in some of the algae and fungi, what happens? See, they will form an outer wall. They will form an outer cover or outer thick wall. The zygote of algae and fungi, they will form an outer thick wall. And what is the use of that thick wall? To resist desiccation and damage. Desiccation means over loss of water, that is dehydration. If it happens, means the zygote will die. So in the case of algae and fungi, they themselves will form a thick wall to resist from desiccation and damage. And in the case of zygote development, in the haplontic life cycle, what happens there? They will undergo reductional division. They will undergo reductional division, that is meiosis, and they will form what? Haploid organisms. And in the case of diplontic life cycle, what happens? They will undergo mitotic divisions and they will form diploid organisms. And this we have already studied in our 11th standard chapters. Yes. Now we need to discuss about embryogenesis. Embryogenesis. Embryogenesis means what? The process or the process of development of embryo from zygote is called as embryogenesis. That is development of embryo from where? From zygote is known as embryogenesis. Is that clear? Okay, now based on whether the fertilization or the zygote development is taking place inside the body or outside the body, the animals can be grouped into two. What are they? They are oviparous animals and viviparous animals. They are oviparous animals and viviparous animals. So what do you mean by oviparous? This also we have studied in your smaller classes. Oviparous means what? Those which lay fertilized egg. They will lay eggs. And here viviparous means which will give birth to young ones. Which will give birth to young ones. And here in the case of oviparous, they lay eggs which have a calcareous shell. We know the eggs is having the outer cover, the calcareous shell, and they have to undergo an incubation period. Then only the young one will hatch and come out. In the case of viviparous, what happens? The zygote will develop inside the mother's womb and they will give birth to the young ones. Okay, and in the oviparous, and the examples of oviparous are what? All the birds, reptiles. And the case of viviparous, we know the mammals, which includes we human beings. Okay, so this is all about the oviparous and viviparous. And one more important thing you have to keep in your mind is during embryogenesis, the zygote will undergo cell division, and also cell differentiation. It will undergo cell division and cell differentiation, and this cell division will helps to increase the number of cells, and the cell differentiation helps to form or produce specialized tissues and organ. So this is all about the post-fertilization. So let's revise it once more. Okay, so events in sexual reproduction includes, they are grouped into 3 stages, and they are pre-fertilization, fertilization and post-fertilization. And the pre-fertilization includes 2 events, that is gametogenesis, that is formation of male and female gametes, and their transfer, that is gamete transfer. And the fertilization means the another name is syngamy. There are 2 types, that is external and internal fertilization. And here post-fertilization includes the zygote development and embryogenesis. Okay, and the 2 types of animals are oviparous and viviparous. And the important one term which we study, that is the parthenogenesis. That means in certain organisms, the female gametes, they directly develop into an individual without fertilization. That is known as, those organisms, that phenomena is known as parthenogenesis. And the examples are honeybee and lizard. Okay, hope it's clear to you these topics, and remaining will be discussed in the next class. So till then, bye, take care.